Now, when it comes to motor development, reflexes are inborn. Some are necessary for survival, and some signify health and development. So, when it comes to survival, all of us at birth have this rooting reflex where whenever you have, like, let's say you touch a baby's cheek, they have the tendency to move toward that general direction. Of course, the breathing reflex and the sucking reflex, of course, for nourishment. Now, some signify health and development, such as Moro reflex, the stepping reflex, and the palmar grasp. So, in the sense of that, you put your finger in a infant's hand, and they will naturally close it up. Now, motor development is orderly. Okay, it follows head down and centered out principles. Now, with gross motor skills, we've got the large muscle groups and the fine motor skills, such as small coordinated muscles, aka pinching and grasping. And as you can see in the figure to the right, the baby is working on his pincer grasp. Now, with motor and sensory development, especially when it comes to sensation and perception, sensation is quite simply whenever the sensory receptors detect sensory stimuli. And perception is in the eye of the beholder. And what I mean by that is perception is how we interpret and organize this sensory information. So it's interpreting information sensed. Okay. When it comes to sensory development, as far as of course we know about your five, vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, as far as with sight goes, it's the least developed at birth. And so newborns can only see about 18 to 16 inches in front of them. They have a preference for faces, unusual, interesting, and exciting images. Whenever it comes to hearing, this is the most developed at birth. In the womb, babies know the sound of their mother's voice, which I find super fascinating. When it comes to touch and pain, physiological reactions indicate sensation of pain when it comes to circumcision. And when it comes to touch, it's necessary and comforting. Okay? When it comes to taste and smell, the ability to distinguish flavors, sweet, salty, sour, and bitter, they prefer the sweet taste, and they identify a mother's smell pretty easily. So when it comes to nutrition, with breastfeeding, of course, breast is best. That's a funny term I like to I like to say, and so it's called colostrum, the liquid gold or nutrient dense first days of life. The breast milk has iron, fats, proteins for proper development, but there are alternatives for breastfeeding, as we all know. The formula feeding may be necessary in various conditions, such as the mother not producing enough milk. There's an adoption. Or the mother has a communicable disease, etc. All right. So whenever it comes to introducing small foods, start simple. One at a time is best. Space days apart to identify potential allergies. Malnutrition, including water access. There's a lot of difficulties, of course, that can come from this. So displaced child's disease, the lack of sufficient nutrition, marasmus, the starvation from lack of calories or protein. Milk anemia, the lack of iron from drinking cow's milk in place of more nutritive foods, and clean water, of course, and obviously makes clean formula. So you can see over to the figure to the right, breast milk changes in composition with a newborn's development and needs. So 3 days to 5 days, 6 days, and then 25 days, which I found it so fascinating to how the human body works in that regard to fit the exact needs and changing the exact needs of the newborn. When it comes to sleep and health, infant sleep requirements include from about 0 to 2 years of age, about close to 13 hours a day. And newborns will sleep from 14 to 17 hours. Okay. With SIDS, of course, many risk factors, many unknowns. Sudden infant death syndrome, we've already established that in the last chapter. So if you need a refresher on SIDS, make sure to check out chapter 3. So whenever it comes to further difficulties with SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, there are some common causes. So back to sleep. Back sleeping is recommended for every sleep. No soft bedding, blankets, potential hazards such that can potentially cause the mouth to be covered up or inhibit the breathing process. Co-sleeping, now the benefit of that is skin-to-skin contact, but this does have an increased risk of child suffocation, okay? And does increase, obviously, whenever parents use drugs or alcohol, because they can be, in a place of, what's the word? It's not coming to me momentarily, but a place of catatonia, which is an advanced word for saying reduce interest with your environment. Then you've got sleep schedules. Nighttime waking is common, so many infants sleep 6 hours during night by 6 months. Not doing so does not only indicate a serious problem, but individual differences.